I'm still on this, bruh. You telling me if I just put two rocks inside of an acid or a base, now all of a sudden I can get that same exact electricity from creating a freaking spark? Like, you're telling me a rock isn't even a rock, it's just a liquid. Yet it can just damage your skin. But there's another rock where you can chew it like bubble gum. Bro, if I was in the 16th, like if I was in medieval time and someone told me that this type of rock was melted down to create a screen that I can just watch somebody that's millions of miles away from me, probably in space, and yet we can still watch each other from this screen. Not only would I call that magic, I would call that witchery. I'd call that whatever. See, now do you see why I don't believe in the ether? Because while yes, there may be some merit to it, at the same time, it could just be electromagnetism, electrostatics. You feel what I'm saying? The same thing with freaking gravity. Like, we have all instances of electrostatics and electromagnetism on a whole larger scale and a smaller scale. And yet you're telling me that we can't find the same exact thing for gravity or the ether? And I'm not even saying that they ain't their own thing. All I'm asking is, how come and why is it that we cannot find a viable way to just determine how it works in the physical? Like, yes, we can say it's a spiritual thing, but we can also say electrostatics and electromagnetism is a spiritual thing. Yet we can see the effects of it in the physical. You see where I'm going with this? It's like, how can you bring something or just say something outright and not have a way to test it out over and over and over and over and over again? Because you can do the same thing for electromagnetism, and you can replicate it as many times with electrostatics. And yet you're telling me, other than the classic this, that there aren't any way to determine if gravity is separate from electromagnetism, is separate from electrostatics. So you're telling me there isn't a viable way to determine whether the ether is separate from the same exact medium that can hold electricity and magnetism at the same exact time. There has to be a correlate. There has to be some sort of way to truly determine whether or not the statement that everyone else is saying is true about these things. I can come to you with this because I've seen it firsthand, and I can replicate it in the darkness to show you the bioluminescence of this, or really piezoluminescence. I can show you the repulsion force of a magnet. I can even give you the benefit of the doubt for freaking gravity and just saying this. But you're telling me the ether, which is supposedly this invisible force where any and all type of energy and electricity can just be tapped into? Like, unless we have a viable way to truly see it in our realm, I just don't believe it. You see, this is why I'm saying it has to be a medium for electrostatics and electromagnetism. Because while yes, you can't see it, you can dang sure feel it. And you can see the effect on other type of materials too. Which is why I'm saying, unless we have a definitive way to replicate it over and over and over and over and over again, different ways, but using the same exact principle, I'm just not gonna go believe in it until I see it with my eyes. But yeah, that's my interpretation of gravity and the ether. I'm not finna believe. I can't say I'm not finna believe. But unless there's a way for us to truly understand, see, feel, to have our senses interact with this in the physical plainest day, without it being some, I wouldn't even say some mumbo jumbo, but just something that the physical can be able to just touch, to feel, to see. You can't see electromagnetism, but you can see the effects of it. Same thing, the same exact thing for electrostatics. And I'll even give you the benefit of the doubt. the same exact thing for gravity. And this is exactly why I don't believe in either, unless it's a medium for both electrostatics and electromagnetism. And even still, both can work outside of a vacuum, meaning you can place both inside of a vacuum and the effects will still be present, which is what's so freaking convoluted about all of this. You see, this was supposed to be about freaking rocks, but now we done gone on to effects in science that you can't see, but you know are there. It's like light. You can see light, but you can't touch it, but you can feel it. You can't see electromagnetism, but you can feel the force between two metals that are of the same poles. You can't see electrostatics, but you can feel it on your arm. Which is why I'm saying there has to be a definitive way to recreate this. Because if there's not, I'm standing on what I'm saying. I shape peace out,